Everybody goes grocery shopping, but I want to show you the way I think and how it's different for me. So I'm going to show you the deals that I got. I just raided the whole reduced section of the grocery store, and this is what I found. We have red onions. These were $1 each, so I got 4 of them for $1. We have peppers. So I got 4 of them for $1.49. Spinach was $1. Now this is to the point where we have to use it. Now I'm going to show you what we're going to do. We have some for $1.49, all these oranges. For $1 each, we have these bags of sweet potatoes. Let's see, we have these onions for $1. And we have the butter balls. I did get a lot of the butter balls for $1.49, and I'm gonna put them in the freezer. And we have this spinach for 99 cents. And then for the chicken, I paid $1.38 a pound. So we have the chicken. The chicken I'm going to put in the freezer right away because we are using this to make some chicken broth in a canning recipe. So we're gonna put this in the freezer right away. I'm gonna go ahead and start some water to boil because we are going to blanch the spinach. That way we can freeze it, and that will last us for a very long time. My spinach isn't mature enough yet that I can use it, so we are going to use up this reduced spinach. All right, so the chicken is in the freezer. Now what we want to do is we want to work on the spinach and the butter balls. And then I got these herbs for 99 cents. And I'm going to show you a trick how we can use these as plants all summer long. So they are in a thing like this, and they are not intended to have them as in your herb garden. But if you take them apart and divide them and repot them, you're going to have some really cheap herbs for so very long. So keep your eye out for this. So what we have here is Italian parsley, and then we have some mint. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna break them up, and we're going to transplant them, and I'm gonna put them in the greenhouse. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and put the water on boil. Once the water is boiling, we are going to drop our spinach in and have it cook for 3 minutes. Take it out, plunge it in cold water, and then we're going to freeze the spinach. Okay, so now we're gonna work on the butter. Now butter is our main form of fat with baking and with cooking. Now I do have bacon lard that I use, but I don't use that extensively. I will only use it once in a while. So this is a great way to use up all of your store-bought jars. These are just stored jars. Do not use your mason jars or jars for canning because that just takes up a lot of jars that you could use for canning. They freeze amazing. If you're using glass jars to freeze, the one rule of thumb is never make your jars totally full. Always have it only 3/4 full because when your food is in your jars, it will expand and it can break the glass. Also, it's important if you do have liquid in your jar to lay your jar this way, sideways. If you lay it sideways, it also will help you with making sure you don't have glass breakage. So this is so simple. All we're doing is we're putting the butter in the jars. Now there's many reasons for doing this. Butter, when you freeze butter, make sure you overly wrap it if you're not going to put it in glass jars because butter absorbs odors. If you have any kind of garlic or any kind of onion in your freezer, garlic will absorb that odor and then your butter will taste a little bit not quite right. So I'm just gonna go ahead, put all of the butter into the jars. All right, so now we have the butter balls done, and we're gonna go ahead and freeze all of that spinach. Now spinach, when you freeze it, it's not gonna take up very much because you blanch it, it goes to almost nothing. Then we're going to cut up the peppers, and I'm going to work on the onions, and I'm going to take some of the sweet potatoes that I think need to be used up. I'm going to use them up. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is I want to get all the plastic off of these sweet potatoes. Plastic is your #1 enemy when it comes to storing produce. Now the sweet potatoes look pretty good. We will have some for lunch tomorrow. But it doesn't look like anything wrong with them, but they are past the end date, whatever that end date may be. Perfect time to make your own sweet potato slips, especially with sweet potatoes like this. Just go ahead and bury it into some soil. Mine are almost ready to sprout. So for $2, I got all these sweet potatoes. Now that's gonna make us quite a few meals. I am going to probably blanch some of the sweet potatoes and put them in the freezer. But now, after I put all this away, we're gonna go outside and I'm gonna show you what to do with these herbs. Almost all grocery stores have them. Even if you don't get a sale price, it's still a lot cheaper per little plant. All right, so now we're out in the greenhouse area. Now, there are so many different things that you can do. You can split these into 4 or 5 or 6 plants, like this. You can split them up. Or you can transplant them into a larger container like this. So this is just a regular market container. Instead of splitting them, I'm actually going to plant this into a larger container. Keep it all one plant, but if you wanted to split it up, you could split it into 2, especially 2 of them would be easy. You could even put it into 3. So all we're going to do is transplant them like this. So if you find plants like this, especially the basil you can divide up really easy. Or you can take them like this and plant them in a larger container. That gives the roots plenty of time to grow. Do this with dill, all of the different herbs that you see in your grocery store. Now, we went to the discount grocery store. I showed you how to take food, how you can preserve food that doesn't have to do with canning. You can freeze it. I showed you all the different things that you can do to keep your food for long-term storage, and you don't even have to step foot in a garden. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow. Bye. Greenhouse is getting so full. Take a look at that. Hardly any space left. These plants are going to give me hours and hours of fun this summer.